running, and I will be just a moment, and then I gotta let my hair down and get my glasses on and get presentable. Right. The stream is up. I've got to pop out the chat and move it there. Quickly do the social posts that say that we are live. Hang out with me on Twitch to see everything revealed live. Twitch.tv/Laura K Buzz, and we're literally just gonna do the tweet with no image, put that out on all the socials, and then I'll say hello to everyone in a minute. Actually, let's get some PlayStation background music going as well. And maybe we close the live chat, given that it seems to be going a little bit iffy. Right. Astro Bot soundtrack. Let's put some of the Astro Bot soundtrack on. That's some nice background. Okay, and let me get the chat up. There we go, we should be good now. How's everyone doing? Hey, AJ, I'm alright. Hey, Valentine. I am literally, I've just finished recording Podquisition and come straight on to doing this stream. Literally seconds ago I emailed off my Podquisition audio. So, like, my hair is up out my face because focused work mode and I don't have my glasses on, and I am a mess, but we're going to make myself presentable real quickly. Here we go. Here is suddenly work mode Laura. Hey, I'm Alex C. Hey, Valentine. I'll get that music down, give me a sec. How's that for music volume? Is that more reasonable? And maybe if my speaking volume is here, how's that? Tara says, I'm ready to be surprised by this announcement. Totally don't know what's going to be announced. Who knows what they're about to announce? AJ says, Platinumed at 100% at Astrobot over the weekend. Best game I've played in a while. I need to go back and Platinum it. I've got, like, a handful of the Take Photos trophies to still do, but, like, yeah, fucking great game. Hey, Saint Nobody. Valentine says, what are we expecting from PlayStation today? 9 minutes of showing you what the PS5 Pro is and what its new controller is and telling you what price and when it's releasing. That's what we're expecting, is the worst kept secret in video games to finally be official. Hey, the BT. Mystery stream prediction, PlayStation 5 Pro unboxing, and Wild Arms 2 HD remake stream. Once again, you nailed it in one. What kind of bingo do we do for a console spec bump? I'm not going to bother with a bingo today because I'm going to be honest. Oh, one second. Talis Alankel, thank you very much for the 26 months of sub. Happy mystery stream announcement in a day, exactly. Look, the problem is, I'm pretty sure I've seen an accurate leak of everything this 9 minutes is going to be. And if that is correct, there's no fucking point for me to do a bingo because I'm pretty sure I know the entire 9 minutes, like, the fucking marketing beats of the entire 9 minutes. So, like, I'm not gonna bother because I think I know everything of the 9 minutes already, and therefore there's no real fun to doing a prediction stream. One space and it's the free space and it's PS5 Pro. You know what? Actually, fuck it. Let me open Microsoft Paint and give me a second. I'm going to make the world's shittiest bingo board right now in real time. I'll put it on screen in a sec. Let me make the board. It's going to take me a couple of seconds. I gotta make a nice rectangle. And then we put Okay, we're nearly there. Here's the bingo card. Here's the bingo card. That's the bingo board for today. I'm excited to finally win a bingo on stream. Dallas Alanko says you could make a bingo and then go, oh wow, look, I got every square, I'm so shocked. Part of me was tempted. I was really tempted to do that earlier today. Can you imagine if it isn't the PS5 Pro? It'll be worse than all those shows where people get mad about Silksong. I would be impressed more than anything if it wasn't the PS5 Pro, particularly given that the silhouette of the design of the PS5 Pro was in an official PlayStation image like 4 days ago, despite not having been announced. At this point, I would be fucking impressed if they had hardware to announce that wasn't the PS5 Pro. Jasper Exists says, whatever the PS5 Pro is, I hope it's not unobtainably expensive. I've been waiting to get a PS5 so far because of how much everyone was talking about the Pro. Disc or no disc drive, discuss. So do you want me to just tell you the rumor of what we're gonna find out today? Do you want to just know the rumored list? And we can see if it ends up being accurate, but I can just tell you the list if you'd like to know. Give me 1 second. Sorry, that's the wrong thing open. It'll save us 9 minutes. I mainly want to talk about it because, like, I think it's interesting for us to discuss quite how terrible a job they've done of keeping it secret, if this is correct. So, let me find the list. Give me 1 second. So, back in August, there was a guy who posted online a list of marketing bullet points for the PS5 Pro, and I'm gonna start with his final one because this is the one that makes me believe his list is real. Was heads up, PS5 Pro hardware showcase is live on September 10th. A quick 12 minutes on YouTube and PlayStation blog, but packed with excitement. It turns out to be 9 minutes, not 12, but the day is correct. It was within 3 minutes, which, considering this was early August that he posted this list, yeah, there's time that they might have, editing might have changed the length of it by a couple of minutes. To me, that's, you fucking had an in marketing. So, here's the rest of the fucking info. There's going to be a State of Play Thursday next week on September 19th. Tune in for a State of Play focused on indie games and third-party games making the most of PlayStation 5 Pro, but don't expect any news on PlayStation Studio titles just yet. So next Thursday, we'll get to see indie games and third parties making use of the Pro, but not first parties. Which to me says, we're not seeing any PS5 Pro gameplay today, and even a week and a half from now, we won't have seen any first party games running on the Pro, which is fucking bonkers if accurate. PS5 Pro will support HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision on certain streaming services and physical media. The PS5 Pro Digital arrives on November 14th for £499.99, so £500 in the UK for the digital one on November 14th. The disc version will be on December 5th for £589, so closer to £600 for the disc drive version, a month later in December. Improved DualSense with better battery life and enhanced triggers. This lines up with the fact that 2 days ago the DualSense price got raised by £5, which is probably because they're phasing out the DualSense, and the £5 increased price is the price of the new DualSense with a better battery life and triggers. It seems like that's what we're learning today. Luna Sophia says, announcing a console without first-party games is I grew up with the console wars in the 80s and 90s, and that just breaks my brain that they do that. Yeah, it seems baffling to me, but honestly, it seems like the overconfidence of a company in the lead, currently winning the hardware, the top-end hardware race, sales numbers, kind of move they would make. An overconfident move. To not show you what the fucking graphics of this new expensive box are. Will the improved DualSense have drift-resistant sticks? Who the fuck knows? I told you literally everything that's in the list. Look, the fact that a month ago they called September 10th and that it was around 10 minutes, I'm yeah, you fucking knew something. My thought is, did they cut 3 minutes of it? Did they have 3 minutes of gameplay and they decided to cut them? Yes, the company that's winning the console races usually fucking finds a way to trip up and screw themselves over. That's pretty common. Also, hey, there's a bunch of people watching. Hello, everyone. Gumba Master says, I wonder if Astrobot will have a special, like, PS5 Pro mode. I think there's a few of their games that will do. I honestly, like, my guess is we'll see, like, I don't even know. My thing I wonder is, do we see Bloodborne port finally, and it's Bloodborne and it runs 30 FPS on the regular PS5 but 60 on Pro? Like, that's the kind of thing that, like, as cynical as it is, you'd sell a lot of pros doing it. Yeah, Jasper Exists says, I saw some people saying £700 for the disc version. Yeah, it seems like sub 600 for the disc version, which is like, it's pricey, but I'm not surprised by it. Like, it's what, 90 quid more expensive than a Steam Deck? Like, that's not out of the realm of what people will pay for systems. What would be the difference between a PS6 and a PS5 Pro? A PS5 Pro would be... All of the games released for PS5 Pro would also release on PS5. Like, there wouldn't be any exclusive games for it. And it would be like, your games run a little better, but it's like optional running better. It's like if the developer puts the effort in, it might run better on the Pro, but like no guarantees. A little step up. It's not like, oh, it'll have a new controller, it'll have exclusive games for it. It'll be like, if you play your existing PlayStation games on the Pro, maybe the frame rate's a little nicer, maybe there's a special graphics mode unlocked. Like, PS4 Pro, for example, it didn't do real 4K, but it did, like, checkerboxed 4K, where it was like, we do half of 4K on one frame and the other half on the next frame, and it kind of looks like 4K. It's an optional, do you want to spend a bunch of money for the next 4 or 5 years, have a better experience with the same games everyone else is playing on PlayStation. A PS6 would be the size of a wardrobe. I'm waiting for the point that, like, consoles have their, like, minimalism revolution, and it's like, oh no, it's no more, the PS6, it's no more powerful than a PS5, we just made it smaller. It's just a smaller one now. No, getting smaller is purely the domain of your... I was going to say domain of handhelds, but no, handhelds are getting fucking bigger year by year. Yeah, honestly, I know this is a slight tangent. The only reason I believe some of the rumors doing the rounds that we might get a Switch 2 announcement this month, like, it seems like completely ridiculous timing, except if you think about it in the sense of, does Nintendo want to say, here's what our thing is and here's what it costs? If you've only got money to pre-order one upcoming console, pre-order one that's like an actual next-gen new console. Don't use that money buying a mid-gen refresh that you don't really need. And I can see a world in which Nintendo goes, sometime between today and November 14th, when supposedly this PS5 Pro is launching, at least its digital version, go, here's the Switch 2, don't put your pre-order money down on the PS5 Pro, save it because there's a next-gen console coming in 6 months. That's the only reason I vaguely believe that we might see a Switch 2 announcement, like, imminently. Because it seems like October, November would be much more sensible timing for Nintendo for a lot of reasons. Okay, the other reason I would maybe see it is TGS coming up, and there's a couple of other little things, but yeah, it's interesting positioning, because PlayStation is being the first one to put their foot out and go, over the next 6 months, we want you to lay down over $500 on our expensive box. And that does give Xbox, if they're still planning to do a mid-gen refresh, and Nintendo with the Switch successor, marketing wiggle room. It means that they can see what Sony's position has landed on and can go, cool, we can course correct a little based on where they're at. All consoles should fit in a Kallax cube. Dandelion, I couldn't agree more. Every device ever made should fit comfortably in a Kallax cube. Fucking love a good Kallax. Jeffrey Bunting says, I vaguely remember the Switch 2 being on par with the PS4. Like, you could absolutely be, don't buy that, buy a handheld PS4 instead. Yeah, the rumors are handheld PS4 that can upscale through a DLSS equivalent to... Yeah, here we go. Can upscale to maybe higher resolutions or frame rates when it's docked because it can do higher power draw. But like, yeah, if your marketing point is, hey, you could eke out like an extra 30 FPS out of your PS5 games, or you could have a handheld PS4. I can see Nintendo going, let's fucking jump on, like, getting people more excited for that than a mid-gen refresh. Like, that is a point where they might be able to win some people's money over compared to waiting. But, we'll see. Jesse McCourty says, Nintendo isn't worried about a PS5 Pro. They're going to launch a new console that can't run GTA 6 and still sell out for 6 months. You're not wrong. They're going to release a console... Here's what I reckon on the point of GTA. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, around launch, a GTA 5 port on Switch 2 exists. And it's not because of the single player that game will be a huge deal. It will be you can play GTA Online on a handheld. Like, that would fucking shift consoles. And for a long time I've seen people going, well, Nintendo doesn't want GTA, like, image-wise on their console. They're finally letting the Yakuza series on Switch, which to me says they're over their idea that you shouldn't have games about being a violent criminal on your platform. They've finally gotten past. The global controller price increase was an odd move, says Incompetent Hero. The rumors are that there is a slightly improved DualSense that's releasing with this PS5 Pro, and my suspicion is that that's what explains the, like, a couple of days ago £5 price increase on the DualSense, is that they're going to phase out the old DualSense, and this increased price is to cover the slightly better battery life replacement that is replacing it. To me, the timing makes sense that they're just going to phase out the worst DualSense and give you the better DualSense. Right, how close are we? We're like... Oh, yeah, we're 7 minutes away. It literally says here. I don't need to... I was like, just trying to do the maths on the clock. A PS5 revision already? We're 4 years into the... We're pretty much bang on 4 years into the PS5's life cycle. I know it feels considerably shorter than that. And allegedly, this is the halfway point in their life cycle. They reckon that the PS5 is going to stick around another 4 years. That will make it 8 years. Which, if they do last 8 years, that will have been as long as the Switch stuck around, which is a respectably long console life cycle. If you're gonna do a mid-cycle refresh, it does seem like this might genuinely be the middle of the generation. That is probably the correct time to do a mid-cycle refresh. PS4 Pro was only 3 years in, right? Yeah, it's... 4 years in is... This feels like a very short... And here's the thing, it feels way quicker than it has done in, like, the PS4 generation. One, we're all older than we were at that point, and time feels faster when you're older. But also, the world was a weird and scary place, and there was a couple of years in which time moved a bit weird, and that has, I think, thrown how that last 4 years has felt, is that there was a couple of years in there where people's sense of time kind of wobbled, and that might well be a factor. You know, no one has quite a good... Everyone talks about it. No one's got a good sense of time anymore because time got wobbly for a bit. Sony typically says each console should have a 10-year life cycle with some overlap of sales between generations, including that. Yeah. Arachnovolt says it's not 2020 anymore. It does feel like time just kind of got stuck a little bit. It got caught on a little speed bump. Took a while to get over it. Okay. Also, the PS4 generation was super long. Yeah, how long was that generation in the end? It feels like it was one of the longer ones. It doesn't help that many people still haven't been able to afford a PS5, says Calliope in the YouTube chat. Yeah. people were slow to adopt PS5 and it was slow to start getting exclusive games. It feels like it was like 2 years into the system's life before it really felt like it was the current gen console. It was a weird time. Oh yeah, PS4 is totally still getting games. A lot of games you can play on your PS5 are technically PS4 games with no PS5 version. Yeah, no, if the rumors are to be believed, we're not seeing a single fucking bit of gameplay today, so that's... Again, that's the thing that fascinates me most about this, is the allegations that, like, Thursday next week we're seeing indies and third parties, but we won't have... Like, sometime after Thursday next week they'll show us first party games. But, like, not having gameplay to show on the day you tell people, please spend nearly 600 quid on this. That's a bold decision. It's a bold decision. It's 9 minutes long. It's going to be 9 minutes long. Okay, I will read to you from the... So, I'll say for anyone who got here late. Early August, there was a leak that accurately said that September 10th would be the reveal date and there would be like a 10-ish minute long video. It's turned out it's going to be 9 minutes there. The leak said 12. I think, like, given a month's time, you can forgive that editing might have trimmed 3 minutes off a video. But to read from this pretty convincing leak, tune in September 19th for a state of play focusing on indie and third-party games making the most of PS5 Pro, but don't expect any news on PlayStation Studio titles just yet. Which really sounds like the first gameplay you're going to see is Thursday next week, and even then, don't expect to see first-party games. It's a weird fucking bit of marketing text, huh? Cedric's username says, does it mean that the best console version of future Xbox games will be the PS5 Pro one? That's the fucking elephant in the room, is, like, probably by quite a wide margin, the best version of Indiana Jones will probably be the PS5 Pro one. Like, there are going to be Xbox games that play considerably better on PlayStation than they do on Xbox. And that's... Unless they just... Xbox mandates don't make improvements for PS5 Pro. Don't let the PS5 Pro one run better. We don't want to be shown up. I doubt they would do that, but, like, otherwise, it's going to be really fucking bad for Xbox optics. The best console version, you know what I mean. You get what I'm getting at. Oh, I gotta respond to work emails in a second, and then I still gotta edit Control.access for this week. We don't know if they're doing it, but there were rumors of Xbox having a mid-cycle refresh too. Sorry, apologies while I eat my gold bar digestive. Right, Doom the Dark Ages having a performance boost on PS5 Pro. If there's no Xbox mid-cycle out by then. It's not going to help the fact that Xbox is being outsold 5-1 by PlayStation, is it? Okay. Let me turn off the Astrobot soundtrack and see now quickly if we have any soundtrack over here, because it's time. Still no soundtrack. We've got 32 seconds. So I'm going to sit here in silence and eat my biscuit. The Series X is not the mid-cycle refresh. The Series S and Series X came out on the same day. The Series X is just the PS5. It's just the default console. The Series S was like, we made a smaller one. Also, thank you whoever it was who just complimented my glasses. Right, let's check. This volume should be okay.
I'm excited to be here to talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro. and how it advances gaming technology.
I'm so shocked!
But first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how it delivers an exceptional gaming experience.
Really? 9 minutes long and you're gonna explain what a base PS5 is for a bit?
When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot to the table. 8 Zen 2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5.
Let's talk about how great the existing PS5 is. It's still good.
With character counts reaching into the
Don't
hundreds.
worry, the PS5's still good.
And
oh yeah,
frame
shit.
rates that can be as high as
1 sec, bingo! We won the bingo! We won our bingo board.
Has a powerful RDNA
Give me a sec.
GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds.
I gotta cross out the box on the bingo.
Explore. Ray tracing allows for dramatic visual
for anyone who wasn't here for the bingo
including
card?
reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time.
Here's my bingo
local
card.
illumination.
We won!
Custom
We got a
SSD can
bingo!
load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in
There we go, we
ultra-fast
won at
transitions
bingo.
between game worlds. And data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited.
Spider-Man did
Tempest
load
3
real
audio
fast.
tech brings
That was
an
pretty cool.
unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games.
Yeah, how much of this
With
9
audio
minutes is
so
going to be
real,
telling
you
us
may
how
not
good
even need to
the
see
old
enemies
PS5
to know
is?
exactly where they are.
Here's all the reasons you don't need a PS5 Pro, because
Finally, the DualSense controller
normal
has haptics
PS5
that let you feel
is pretty
through
fucking
your
good
hands
already. You don't
what your
really need
character's
to not
experiencing
have it.
inside of the game. It's wonderful to see such variety and richness of game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance.
How far in
The
are
dreams
we?
of the developers are bigger than can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with, graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice.
Why are developers aspiring for more than
Fidelity
60
modes emphasize
FPS? They're
the
not
visuals,
hitting
typically
60
through
yet.
higher resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier, and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second.
Yes. Your big fancy console can't
Mainly
do
by
good
reducing the
graphics at
graphical
high
detail
speed.
until those frame rates can be achieved.
You bought a PS5 thinking you'd get good graphics
When
at
asked to
60.
decide on the mode, players are choosing performance. about
Now we sell
3/4
you
of
the console
time.
where you don't have to
Removing
choose.
that
You can have
decision, or
both.
at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro.
Getting rid
We
of
want
that
to give
decision
players
or
the graphics that
narrowing the
game creators
divide.
aspire to, at the high frame rates the players
See the back
typically
down
prefer.
there. He's
To
not
do
saying that you won't have
PS5
to
Pro
pick between. You
substantially
might still have to
improves
pick
over
between
PlayStation 5
fidelity
in three
and
ways.
performance.
Here's what we call the big three. First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster. Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5. And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution.
Yeah, this
or
got
PSSR
leaked. So
for short.
this is DLSS but
PSSR
for PlayStation.
analyzes the game images
This
pixel
is
by pixel,
this
and
is
can
the
add an
thing that people
extraordinary
think is
amount
going to
of
make
detail,
4K on
which
Twitch
boosts
2
the
possible.
effective
Is
resolution of the
basically
games.
this.
Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and
They're gonna
existing
have their
titles.
they're gonna
And
have
with
their
the
own
big three
equivalent
involved,
of
the results can be
DLSS.
pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate.
Something
Here's
like
The Last
fidelity
of Us
levels
Part
of
2
detail.
running on PS5 Pro. It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second. Let's compare this to the fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier. This goal of delivering almost fidelity-like graphics at performance
Almost
frame rate has been
fidelity-like.
achieved for a broad set of titles, including
They
Marvel's
recognize that
Spider-Man 2
upscaling is not the same thing as actually doing it at
and
those
Ratchet and Clank
resolutions.
Rift Apart. We can see that
Like, they're
PS5
having to
Pro
use
is
their
close to
weasel words
doubling
because
the
it's
power
not
of PlayStation
the
5.
same. It's going to be inherently a
Another way to
little
compare the
worse.
two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus performance mode on PS5.
Also, we're not
both of
streaming
which
this at like
target
4K,
60
so
frames
we're not
per
going to
second.
see resolution stuff.
What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5.
Yeah.
For this, my favorite
They
is
haven't shown the
parade
console
scene
itself,
from
but
Ratchet
we've seen
and
leaked
Clank.
images. It's going to have
Distant
diagonal
details are
stripes up
much
the edge of
clearer.
it. We'll see it in a minute.
And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural
We'll talk
cars.
about this after this finishes. I will explain to you,
overall,
for any of you who don't know what this upscaling tech is
PS5
doing.
Pro,
We'll
see
chat about what it
increased
actually
sharpness
is.
to the graphics, or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the big three.
I mean, you're watching a stream of a stream at a lower resolution that's not at 4K. Like,
is being used quite broadly to add
this is not a good way for them to
boost
show
frame
you the
rate.
visual differences.
But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects.
I'm seeing a few things at least. A few promos.
As well as to the
Twitch
hair
doesn't have a good
and the
bitrate
skin
for this
in
stuff.
cinematics.
Open up, guys. Jorv's orders.
Good enough for me.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference. Allowing
This man
Gran
is
Turismo
not
7
Mark
to add
Cerny.
ray
You are
trace
not
reflections
a
between the
charismatic
cars in
man.
gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second. That boost in ray tracing is also delivering big wins for Hogwarts Legacy,
Fuck off.
allowing not
Fuck
only
off.
for better
Fuck
reflections
off.
and a greater
I'm gonna mute this while they talk about the turf game. Fuck off, Sony. Stop being besties with turf game. You didn't need. You could have just not used the turf game as an example. You could have done that. That would have been great.
built, and a worthy addition
Anyway.
to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
Okay, yeah, there it is. The weird diagonal lines that they showed off like 3-4 days ago in an image. Are they going to mention the improved DualSense or the price or the release date, or are they saving that? It sure does look like PS5 games, doesn't it?
Close your eyes.
Look, I hope that they put like a downloadable, lossless version of this up that I can have a look at, like... But we're reaching the point where it's really hard to show off graphics improvements in a live-streamed YouTube, Twitch trailer. Where's the disc drive? Allegedly there's a disc version. You can either buy the disc drive separately like you can for the discless PS5 now, or there's a disc version coming a month later in December. Fuck off, turf game. Goodbye. No thank you. No. Okay. These sure are games. I struggle to tell you what looks better here than in their other versions. Okay, oh fuck, that price is higher than expected. That's discless. 700 discless. Oh, that's... Okay, yeah, no, it is more expensive than the leak I was looking at suggested. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. 700. 700, look, 700 I don't think is impossible to ask for, but this is not how you present a console and get people to pay 700 for it. Like, you need it, like, you need the, you know how you sell a £700 version of this? You start talking about it in PC terms, where you're like, this game will run at this resolution at this frame rate. This game will run at this resolution at this frame rate. Here is a fucking frame rate graph of how solidly it's keeping that frame rate. Like, you need to, like, you need to be advertising to, like, PC gamers. Like, and even then, PC gamers don't want a console, they want PC games. But you want people who are like, I want my console to kind of feel like I'm a PC gamer. You need to be talking, like, those fucking terms. So, $699 is £535. Did it not say £700? Yeah, £700. Well, is that $700 pre-tax? Like, you've got to add 20% onto that for tax, right? For the US? Like, your prices don't include tax, but our $6.99 does include tax. Maybe I'm wrong? So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know about, like, the upscaling tech they were talking about, this is a thing that you can get on PC already called DLSS. What it'll do is it will look at one frame of the game and look at the next frame of the game, and either add in additional details that AI thinks probably makes sense to be there to try and make it look higher resolution, or will go, this frame and this frame exist, what would go in between, and we'll try and guess the frame in between to improve the, like, to bump up the resolution or bump up the frame rate by guessing at either additional frames or additional pixels to make the game look better. Or run faster. This is the tech that people are, but like, Nintendo has their own proprietary version of this that allegedly is going to be powering the Switch 2. This is how the Switch 2 will look better and run better, is doing the same kind of tech. I am genuinely curious to see what a proprietary console implementation of this looks like and how much of an impact it does have. I want to see this footage, not through YouTube encoding. I want to see, like, a proper download of it where I can watch it in full screen, because, like, that's where we will see whether this is any good. Is their DLSS equivalent accurate at inputting data that previously did not exist? Are the results of their proprietary DLSS equivalent decently equivalent to an actual bump in power? Yeah, you don't even get the vertical stand, I know. It's... Evelyn Void says, DLSS looks a lot better than FSR2 upscaling typically used in modern games. Yeah, DLSS is pretty good these days. DLSS is really getting there. Yeah, this is the thing. It's because a console is, like, one standard. If they've got a really good proprietary thing that everyone will work with and that will produce good results on known hardware, it could be potentially really interesting to see this, and if nothing else, if this is probably the first example we will get of, like, is this tech robust enough that we should be excited about it potentially being how the Switch 2 works? But yeah, people were like, oh, if it hits 600, it'll be the $599 US fucking meme. Like, oh, get a second job to buy it. But no, they overshot. They just jumped past that, huh? They just jumped past that. Yeah, like, as Evelyn Void points out, like, you can get something that looks very similar to 4K while rendering at 1080p using DLSS, meaning you have more horsepower to play with to get it up to 60, because you're using less of your computing power to try and bump up the resolution. You've got more tech to play with to naturally increase the frame rate, or vice versa. By auto-generating some of your frames, you can make them higher resolution on the back end. Basically, you can offload some of the work to AI guessing to have more actual power to play with for other bits of your performance. Dandelion says, I'm at the point where if it's done right, I can't tell the difference between DLSS and native. The difference between DLSS and native is pretty imperceptible, ... if you're not asking it to make a huge leap. If you're asking it to help you, like, make up a little shortfall, it's pretty unrecognizable. If you're trying to, like, really push a game, like, way past its basic appearance, that's where it starts to get a little ropier. How much is the PS6 going to be if this is going to be £700? Who the fuck knows? Yeah. Alana Schmidt says, PS3 launch price moment. Well, I mean, they've jumped past the PS3 launch price, huh? Yeah. Yeah, DLSS is hardware-based, as opposed to FSR is about software, which is why it works on pretty much any GPU. Yeah, I want to know who they've partnered with for whatever they're... Like, presumably they're doing something similar to DLSS, so it'll be a hardware-based solution. Who is manufacturing their AI upscaling chip? Like, the smart money would be on NVIDIA, but, like, I don't think that that's who PlayStation's currently partnered with. They're partnered with AMD. It would be surprising. But, like, Nvidia is the name in AI upscaling tech. They're the people you want making that hardware for you. Sneakernet says it's most likely AMD. And like that's logically, it feels like it's got to be AMD. But AMD is like years behind Nvidia on like the quality of where their AI upscaling tech stuff is at. I believe it's an AMD Radeon, yeah. Gosh. PS6 will be cheap because you'll have to buy a new house to fit it in. No, PS6 will be so big it will be the house. You'll go and live inside the PS6. The heat it generates running your games will be what warms your new PS6 home. Oh, God. November 7th. That's a couple of months away. I don't know for certain if I will get sent one of these by PlayStation for work. I got sent a PS5 when they launched. This is a... I don't know whether there is enough different about this that it is worth reviewing, or if they will send me one purely because they want when I cover stuff for the footage to look nicer. I'm thinking about this. If I don't get sent one for work, when this comes out in November, would there be enough justification for me to pick this up? And, like, I say this as someone who, like, covers stuff for work, and there's, like, an incentive to have the new thing just to have the new thing because work purposes and to be able to talk about it. And it's launching at a time in the year where, like, I'll have just had, like, book royalty payments come in and I'll have money. And even with all of that caveat said, I think I'd be hard-pressed to feel like upgrading is a thing that I would need to do. Like, even in a situation where, like, there are work benefits to me doing so, and I would have the money on hand to do it, and, like, I would be encouraged to have the shiny thing for work, I would be hard-pressed to justify picking it up. Jeffrey Bunting says, good point, maybe I can wrangle one for free. I mean, here's the question. Is AI upscaled frames an accessibility question? Because if so, the two of us could probably argue getting them for work. My argument would be, what is the consistency of the AI-generated additional frames or additional resolution? Is there any risk of, like, you know, sometimes this frame generation tech does stuff like inserting, like, let's say it makes a mistake and inserts a single solid color frame where it shouldn't have done. Is that a risk for people for whom visual stuff is an issue? Does this have any benefits for people with motion sickness because it'll run games at high resolution? We can come up with some accessibility use cases to be like, we need this for work, you see. But yeah, if it'll be a tax write-off thing, just because curious, because I know nothing about taxes, it's debatable how much, but yeah, if I would be hard-pressed. As someone that, like, my job is video games, I talk about video games every single day, and, like, my whole thing is being up-to-date on video games, even I'm hard-pressed to justify 700 quid. And you know what? This is, I think, the perfect time for Nintendo. Honestly, Nintendo, if you can, I would announce the Switch 2, like, fucking today. Because I guarantee Nintendo will be considerably below £700. Like, price is such a fucking fact for Nintendo. If Nintendo can go, hey, forget about that thing where all the footage kind of just looked like PlayStation 5 games, didn't look any fucking different. Forget about that. New console, new games, new things to play, looks considerably better because, like, you can actually see the difference between 720 and 1080 on a YouTube live stream, and it costs way less than £700. Like, you could be the fucking talk of today. If Nintendo, like, right this second dropped a, like, 3-minute video going, here's what the Switch 2 is, it costs, even if they said, like, 500, it'd be like, undercut PS5 Pro, here's, like, new games that look way better than the ones on your current Switch. They could fucking eat PlayStation's lunch today, and it would be the funniest fucking thing. I genuinely think it would be fucking hilarious to see Nintendo capitalize on this, because like this is such rough messaging for PlayStation. Yeah. If they reveal Switch 2 at under £400, they'd be kicking Sony to the curb. Honestly, I think the ceiling for Switch 2 is like... I think there'll be a model that's like 450 at the top end. Like, currently we're looking at like 380 for a Switch OLED with a game. 400 to 450 for Switch 2, maybe without a game. Maybe it comes with a pack-in, who knows. Like, it still gets it in under the Steam Deck's launch price. They save money by not having an OLED screen. You get it in under 500... Like, yeah. If they announce it before November 7th, they're eating. It depends. Our pre-order's up for this currently. Because what, like, if I'm Nintendo, you want to capitalize on good marketing right now, you announce the Switch 2 and give a vague sense of when it's coming, rough price, when you can hear more. If you do like a couple of minutes of that before this thing goes up for pre-order, you fucking eat this thing. Heavy man, rumors are heavy that the Switch 2 doesn't launch with an OLED screen, unfortunately, because they want to keep that launch price down, and they want to put the expense into performance rather than nice screen, which is going to be a sucker, but pre-orders begin on September 26th. Okay. Nintendo has 2 weeks if they want to fucking capitalize on, hey, don't drop 700 on this, drop 450 on pre-ordering the Switch 2. Yes, thank you for sharing the link, Evelyn Void. I apologize for not opening up on stream, but, yeah. Gosh, Aravian says, it looked good, though. Like the look. I like the look of the console. I like the diagonal fins on the side. I think that looks cool. I assume those are actual vents and it's for improved cooling because this thing's going to kick out more heat. The presentation was smooth. I think it was a good thing that they showed games, even if it's really hard to see how much is actually different in a presentation like that. I think it was an odd choice to open on existing PS5 information. I think that, like, not... £700 stand not included. Like, this image, I look at that and, like, we couldn't throw in a little metal ring and some plastic, but it's £700 is, like... It's very PlayStation. It's very PlayStation. It's very PlayStation when they're in the lead in console wars. This was them with the PS4. This is the, like... We're feeling a little overconfident. We're feeling a little, oh, we got this. On the PlayStation blog, they talk about the disc drive. What do they say about the disc drive? I assume it's just buy the disc drive separately, the one that's already on sale that's like 80 quid. So yeah, if you want a PS5 Pro with a disc drive, that's £790. Yeah, one sec. Disc drive will be an add-on, yeah. God, I hadn't even thought about that. It doesn't have a disc drive. No, you can see here, there's no disc drive. Minuscule amount of credit to him, but Mark Cerny is actually not too bad at doing the VO and presenting the press release. He's generic. I'm the man who understands how the tech works and will say the tech in words you know. I'm like, yeah, he's not bad. Yeah, I need to wrap up in the next 5 minutes because I got to start editing this week's Control Alt Access episode. But yeah, £780 for a disc supporting PS5 Pro. PS5 Pro is available as a discless console with the option to purchase the currently available disc drive for PS5 separately. Yeah, no, I've just been checking. Disc drive is 90 quid. It's £790. It's nearly £800 if you want it with a disc drive. Plus the stand. If you want it with a stand, that's another 20 quid. I'm going to say 800 quid. If you want this thing with a disc drive and a stand, that's 800 quid. Is the existing disc drive Ultra HD? I have no idea. I don't know the specs. I have a launch PS5 with a disc drive, so I don't know the detachable disc drive's spec range. Oh, that's a high ask. That's a high ask. I really thought 600 was going to be the upper end of what they would, where they would go with this. I felt like 600 was a tall ask, but you really need, like, I'm really of the belief you needed to show something truly impressive for that number to not be big and to not be wild. And I don't think they showed enough for that price point to not feel out of place. They didn't show enough to go, yeah, I understand why this is 700. Like, you need to show the reasons that 700 isn't a ridiculous price to ask. And I don't think this presentation did that. Gosh, this is... yeah, 700 is you're getting into PC gaming territory. 700, you really are knocking on the door of PC gaming. It does at least include a 2TB SSD. Cool, I'm glad. I don't think that justifies that price, but, well, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm gonna go do the editing work I still need to do today, but, that is genuinely fascinating, and I will ask PlayStation very nicely if they will send me one, because I would struggle to convince myself to pay that much money for it. Have a good rest of your day. I'll be back Wednesday night, 10 PM UK, maybe 9 PM UK. I'll be playing some Dragon Age Inquisition. I'll be back soon. Look for an episode of Control Alt Access this week and an episode of Accessibility. Control Alt Access on Thursday, Accessibility on Friday. Have a good one.